Welcome to the Evolving Women podcast, where growth, healing, and empowerment aren't just ideas, they're a way of being. I'm Teresa Lysam, and in each episode, I'm joined by an extraordinary woman, one who is boldly shining her light in the world, one who is bringing her real life experience to each and every episode. And you'll be meeting my guest co host for today here shortly. She brings her heart centered wisdom and her powerful story to remind us all that we are not alone on this journey. This space is your permission to evolve, to expand, and to fully embody your most radiant, authentic self. So let's evolve together. Hi, everyone. Another episode of Evolving Women starts right now. And I have an amazing woman with me who has had her own evolution, her own journey of evolving that she's going to speak with us about. But this is Whitney Fallon. Thank you so much for being here, Whitney. We so appreciate you. And
Yes,
thank you for
thank you,
sharing your
Teresa.
time. Oh, this is so
I am,
exciting. Thank
I
you
am
so
super
much.
excited to be here.
Thank you. So this is Evolving Women. It's all about our own personal journeys of evolving. Some people think that's a huge evolution. Most people, it's just small little steps wherever our life takes us, depending on so many factors. So I'd like to dig in a little bit to your own personal evolution because I know you've started out in the nursing field and then you have just expanded in so many ways. So if you can just share a little bit about how that started for you. So as a nurse, like when did you start branching out or
Yeah,
how?
so I was in the nursing industry for over 10 years and in the hospital setting most of the time. So seeing the sickest of the sick and,
Mm,
some of the toughest times of their lives. And during COVID, that was a lot of stress, not being able to have families come in and see their loved ones, the anxiety, everything that was going on there. But during that time, it got to me as well. And I ended up going through my own health crisis, as I call it, because of the stress and everything. I just got to that point where I was just burnt out. Um, I just had been doing for everyone else and just, neglected the basic things about myself. And
mm-hmm,
going through that health crisis, I realized that I was super sensitive to a lot of things. It was a little crazy. But I realized that I've always loved more of that holistic approach. Even in, educating with my clients that I came in contact with or when I just loved more of that holistic approach. And so when I was trying to figure out what was going on with me, I went back to my faith and prayer
mm,
and digging deeper into more than just what was physically going on with me at the moment, but what traumas had I been through? What emotional wounds had I not
mm,
really addressed? Um, physically learning more about my genetics and things that I didn't understand about my body. Learning about that led me down this path of being able to be healed and be off of medication and live, my life. And part of that was leaving my job. And that was
wow.
scary.
Oh, heck
Um,
yeah.
because it was kind of more forced, but looking back on it, it was like God shove out the door, like, "Hey,
Mm.
hello, I've been trying to get your attention. You ain't listening, so I'm gonna kick you out the door."
It does seem to happen that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it does when you continue to like, "Oh, I'll do that eventually. I'll do that one day."
Mm-hmm,
Those were
mm-hmm.
the things that I said to myself. "Oh, the stable paycheck is nice. Like I don't want to
Yes,
lose that."
yes, yes.
Um,
It it
so it got to that point.
takes some courage to step out and leave that paycheck and that job behind.
It really does. And I think that's what holds a lot of people back from
Hmm.
doing really what's on their heart because
Hmm.
that security, that
Yep.
stability,
Yep.
and the fear of the
Hmm.
unknown and what goes on.
Well, I applaud you for taking that step. And that seems to be what most people, women do. They come to this point, you're like burnout point. I'm going to refer to it as, and you have to make some kind of a decision or it's made for you and you have to take that step into the unknown and live with that uncertainty and just see where it goes and basically trust yourself, trust your faith, and just be open to opportunities and new doors opening.
Hmm. So I was looking back through my text messages recently, and it was like around 4th of July. It was a little bit before that that I had not been able to go back to my job because they couldn't accommodate my schedule that I needed to have surgery and all of that.
Mm,
And I was talking to this other nurse about my vision and my dream for a business. And I texted him and messaged him and said, I will start my business one day. And I saw that pop back up this week. And what do you know? 5 days after that text message, I applied for my LLC.
wow.
Yeah. So that
So,
one day became 5 days later. And that
wow.
just started that cascade of evolving, things changing and shifting, and just amazing things happening for me.
Like just like I said, new doors open up, new opportunities, the right people flood in, the right circumstances, the right resources.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So, I mean, it wasn't all easy. I'm not gonna lie. It was definitely, a journey that up and hills, up and down, but definitely led me to being able to start my own practice. I actually, at one point, was even going to take over a whole other practice and got to get
Mm,
connected with some other practitioners, acupuncturists, nutritionists, massage therapists, and just opening up the other doors of connections and referrals to help
mm-hmm,
people heal in various
mm-hmm,
ways. Um, and the more I started doing more of the coaching and working with people, the more I realized that a lot of their physical symptoms stemmed from the stress in their life. And it's
mm-hmm.
true that 80% of disease is from stress.
Yep,
And
yep.
there's so many things that can stress out our
Mm-hmm.
lives.
Oh,
And
yeah. Especially now.
And being a business owner and, taking that adventure into entrepreneurship, it brings a whole different layer of stress and
Mm-hmm.
introspection. Like you really
Yep.
have to dig deeper into yourself and really heal through some of your stuff, overcome some of your comfort zones,
Oh my
you
gosh,
know,
yes.
and really tap into that. And so the first, year or two, it felt like it was a lot more internal work
Mm-hmm.
that was going on. And just magical people, coming into my life, coaches, support people, just kind of helping guide that journey. Um, that involvement of who I am today to sit on a podcast and be recorded. That would
Mm-hmm.
have not happened probably 10 years ago to be like, me? No.
And I had the same thoughts about hosting it. Like me, like I never, it would not even have been in my brain at, 10 years ago. Like, you know, and here we are, both of us.
Here we are. Yes.
Yeah, the stress leading to disease. I mean, that is huge. I heard somebody list off just yesterday, I think, on uh, something I was listening to, like huge list of health concerns and issues that are traced back to stress. I mean, everybody's heard this list. Maybe not all together, but we know the common diseases, and the common origination point seems to be stress.
Hmm. And stress definitely can trigger some of those genes in our body that normally aren't, they're in the background. They're just there. They ain't doing nothing. But that stress, it turns them on. It's like the light switch goes on and
Mm-hmm.
then the haywire starts happening and things just, get a little chaotic inside the body.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that I really went on a journey about was not just about me, but about my family. That's actually what led me into nursing to begin with was I had an uncle who passed away at the age of 40 from a massive heart attack.
Wow.
My grandfather I never got to meet because he died from a massive heart attack. My
Mm.
cousin, who was only in her 30s, had to have open heart surgery, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be
Right, right.
following that pattern.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Um, So it wasn't just about the current stressors in life, but it was also about looking back at my family lineage and some of the
Mm-hmm.
stressors and things that my generations, before had went
Mm-hmm.
through.
Right. Yeah, there's lots of layers, isn't there? A lot of
Uh-huh.
variables that contribute to our health, our mental well-being, our wellness. But I want to refer back to, and I think I'm going to be jumping around here a little bit, so forgive
Hmm.
me. Like tell me more about how emotions play a part in our health and our wellness.
So in my opinion, emotions when they get stuck in us is what causes a lot of chronic pain, a lot of chronic symptoms and things that go on. And a lot of times we get these emotions that come back up. We get these feelings, these things, they keep resurfacing. And what do? We try to stuff them down.
Mm-hmm.
We try
Yep.
to push them back down and suppress them. And I say,
Yes.
whatever gets suppressed expresses. So if it's
Mm-hmm.
suppressed, it expressed. So a lot of those emotions get expressed into what's going on. And evolving into my practice, it wasn't just about, I felt like I was doing traditional nurse practitioner stuff in some ways, but then as I prayed over a lot of the clients before they would come in or with that time, our
Mm-hmm.
conversations would lead elsewhere.
Mm.
And it led into I started doing some hypnosis training and doing guided meditations with my clients, just to help them really tap out of their head space and get into that healing space. And through that, a lot of times what would come up is these chronic symptoms were related to emotional wounds.
Mm.
A woman who couldn't cross her legs because she had such bad back pain and hip pain.
Mm.
And, diving deeper into that, we realize it has something to do with her relationship with her mother and
Wow.
healing through some of that in just that short meditation time. When we were done, she's crossing her legs. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Mm. Wow.
Thought you couldn't do that?
Mm.
So just seeing the amount of people being healed through releasing some of that and having
Mm.
it in a good and safe environment and not where you have to relive the trauma,
Mm-hmm.
but to replace it with something else. So letting
Right.
that be released and replacing it with a promise of your body in the way that it was designed and meant to be. It was super powerful.
Wow. And I think and that might be new information to those watching us today, that emotions being stuck in our body could really manifest in a symptomatic way and cause problems in our physical body. Like that, when I first heard that, that was a hard concept for me to wrap my head around.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to lie, even now I mean, I've been with the concept long enough. Intellectually, I can understand it, I guess, if you can equate that to an intellectual thing, but to actually allow that to happen and to believe that it's possible. If you release an emotion, it's going to relieve a physical symptom. Like that's almost a hard step to take, a hard bridge to pass over into that
Mhm.
belief part of it.
Yeah. And sometimes it's things that we don't even realize. Maybe we don't even remember some of those things that happened to us or what was going on that triggered
Right,
that.
right.
And I mean, I've also seen, some people getting chiropractic work or doing yoga or doing other things where they just sob and cry or they want to scream
Hmm.
or,
Hmm.
other things that happen. And a lot of that's those emotions that get tapped into and that's a part of a release. Sometimes
Hmm.
releases come in different ways. It may be tears, it may be screaming, it may be yawning, and and so those emotions we don't think about it much because really in society we're not taught that, that it was okay to talk about our
That's what I was
emotions
going to
and
bring up
express
next.
them.
Yeah. I was just
Yeah.
going to go there. Like our society is totally opposite that. Like it's like we've been taught, like you said, to suppress, to tamper down. It's not important. Emotions are just distractions or whatever label you want to put on them. Emotions are not serving us in any way, so let's just forget about them, or whatever. Which we say that, but we probably deep down, maybe we know that's not really true because living life is all about emotions, but yet we're so dismissive of them. It's almost like we got these two contrary things going through us and in our head and in our society. And I just had that
Mhm.
realization just now. It's like we're getting mixed messages.
Mhm. There's very much that disconnection. And when things
Hmm.
are
Good word.
disconnected, they don't proper and function correctly.
Hmm.
If one of the cords and that are connecting the electricity gets disconnected, it's not functioning right. It's not
Hmm.
working anymore.
Yeah.
But those
Yeah, please go
emotions
ahead.
and what society, kind of paints that picture of it definitely is not something that we've grown up getting used to. And I mean, some of the
Right.
younger
Right.
generation, maybe, yeah, they've gotten some exposure to it as well. And I think a lot more parents are coming on board, seeing
Hmm. Yeah.
the impact of that and wanting to do something different than the way they were treated as
Hmm.
children. So we're
Yes.
seeing
Yes.
this new shift kind of happen where we're, peeling back that layer and opening up to that connection that's there.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
think, that's kind of where my practice started evolving and turning into because it wasn't just, I was focused on the physical. And I feel like I did a
Hmm.
lot of specialty work in cardiology, pulmonary sleep. And,
Mm.
it's very fine tuned into that specialty. It's like, let me just address my thing. If it's something else, yeah, you
Hmm.
got to go see someone else.
Hmm.
But when I started working with people, I started saying, hey, like, we need to look at you as a whole person, not just these little pieces and sections. We
Yeah.
need to talk about some of the other stuff in your life, your relationships, your finances, the environment that you're in. Vocationally, how are things going with your job and where your passion and your purpose is. And so the more I started working with these clients, the more I started getting exposed to some of the issues that they were struggling with. And the more I prayed about those issues, the more that new things showed up in my life, new connections and resources and support for these
Mm.
people. And that's kind of evolved my practice even more. So, finances. I say, burnout is the new bankruptcy because we're seeing a lot of people when they burn out, you lose your job, you have these health
Mm.
issues, you get these healthcare costs. And actually, the number one cause of bankruptcy is healthcare
Mm.
costs.
Mm. Yeah, I believe that.
And so, I think if we get to that state of burnout where we're not addressing our emotions, not addressing the care that we need, not addressing ourselves as a whole person and making those connections, the more we're going to end up suffering, in
Hmm.
multiple ways.
Right, right. And I appreciate you bringing up that like different components that make up our life. They're all interconnected and they're all woven together, but we seem to see them as different aspects of life, and one doesn't affect the other one, which is not true. That's a false belief we hold. They're all
Hmm.
connected, they're all woven together. And I love that you brought up the finances because you are now moving in that direction, right? That's another evolution of yourself.
Yeah, so that's definitely something that has evolved as I've learned about it, how I've learned about how it's impacted my life and how, I wanted to start a business and expand things. What do I need to do to set things up, to protect things, to
Hmm.
build a legacy for my family and things like what else do I need to do? So as I started learning about it and teaching others and helping others with their situation, it led into, like I said, those connections to be able to help. And now I'm actually connected with some real estate investors and I'm adding real estate investing to that. And the reason was because, I had some clients who were autistic and they were wanting to venture out on their own. They wanted to have a job, they wanted to be in school and do these things,
Hmm.
live on their own. But
Hmm.
that thought of like living on their own is scary and
Yes.
different for the parents and the kids
Yep, I'm
themselves.
sure it is.
So one of my big visions is creating housing for autistic adults, almost like a dorm room kind of thing where they have other people
Okay.
similar and some support measures within there.
Hmm.
And the other thing that, some of the families that I encountered, they wanted a home and they either didn't qualify for a mortgage
Mm.
or they had credit problems or, some of them had bad experiences in their life. They ended up in jail for some reason and
Mm.
some of them even had felony charges that now
Mm.
it's really impacted their life. They've turned their life around, to
Mm.
God and different things, but now it's
Yeah.
like they're already in a setback and trying to get it
Hmm.
forward. So this connection made more resources and support to be able to help people get into homes, be able to start living in a house that they enjoy. Because I think your environment really controls a lot of that. And if
Oh,
you're,
yeah.
my credit's bad, I can't do anything, I'm stuck in this
Hmm.
place, that's
Hmm.
going to create that whole problem with the whole family. Because if
Right.
the parents are stressed out about it all, the kids are going to feel that. So to be able to bless people with solutions creatively, being able to find how to achieve their goals is just amazing to watch unfold.
Mm. Wow, I love that. Wow. And it sounds to me like you, every little iteration of yourself, evolution of yourself, has been based on your clients, how you're serving them, what they needed at any moment in time, kind of put you on a different path. Am I right about that? It's like it seems
Yeah.
like you're very service based. Whatever your client needs, that's what you will go get, become, learn, whatever. Try to take some action to serve your clients. That is just a beautiful, impactful thing that you're doing.
Yeah. Impact was actually my word of the year this year.
Well, you certainly sound like you're making a big impact in the world. And that whole in real estate to serve that particular population is fabulous. Like I said, they're already starting like at a deficit, we'll just say, society seen deficit. And society holds certain things against, like you said, if someone's been in jail for whatever reason, and they come out and they're a different person, a better version of themselves, but yet society still holds it against them
Hmm.
and doesn't give them maybe the opportunities that somebody else might have. And you're giving them that opportunity. I just think that is such a beautiful thing. So I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, my big mission is to impact 1,000 families by helping them rebuild their health, their mindset, and their finances so they can break cycles and thrive
Mm,
without burnout.
I love that. That breaking the cycles.
Hmm.
That's huge for a lot of us. Breaking generational patterns, as you already spoke about, breaking, setting up something better for the future to impact that future generation in a more positive way. So that, yeah, we're stopping the pattern. We're the pattern interrupt. And sometimes that can be kind of lonely because it sounds like you're on the cutting edge there. You're doing things that a lot of other people aren't doing. So, do you feel really supported and seen? Invisible is doing that? No, that didn't come out right. Like, do you feel like you're out there on your own trying to do it, or do you feel very supported with other people that are helping you make this happen?
So actually, it's a little mixture of both, I will say. Because it is, following the faith of doing it and
Mm-hmm.
doing things in
Mm-hmm.
different ways that, other people aren't doing. I've had
Oh,
lots of
yeah.
coaches, and, some of them have been great. Some of them have led me down paths that weren't really where I was going.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but, I've learned that I really have to stick with my intuition and
Mm.
following that. And, getting connected with some teams and environments and some people that did feel in alignment. It's all really about alignment, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Once you are in that alignment of your calling, of what you're doing, and it feels, you know, connected, it's like momentum just kicks in and things go.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
more of it's you're getting connected, you're being seen, you're being supported by those that are in that environment when it's in alignment. When it's out of alignment and things don't feel right, you feel this pit in your gut, um, or you just are scared, or, some of those things
Mm-hmm.
that kind of
Mm-hmm.
come about, that creates more of that fear. And the more that you're bringing that fear into your life, the more it's going to manifest into
Yeah.
your life
Yep.
even more.
Yep.
And so it's a daily practice to be able to shift that. And it's having support people that I can call, that I can message, that I can say, "Hey, I'm not having a good day. I
Mm-hmm.
need some encouragement that I am going on the right path."
Mm-hmm.
Or just some encouragement that, I need to continue to follow my gut. And, sometimes when you are on the change of some breaking things, you get a lot of attack. A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
that are like, "That's not how we do things.
Right,
This
right,
isn't how
right.
it's
I'm
supposed to
sure.
be." So it's definitely having that support and measures to be able to overcome that.
Yeah, I love that. I heard something just recently, a couple of times actually, that life is not DIY. It's not like do it yourself. Like we're here with others. Allow others to support us as we want
Mhm.
to support other people. Because, again, a societal thing seems to be, especially in this country, you want to be seen as independent and you could do it yourself. And, I think that's definitely changing, but I think there was definitely a time where that was a badge of honor. You could do
Mhm.
especially as women, you could do this and then birth the baby and then go back in and take, take care of the rest of the family and do all the things and then go to your job. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like do everything independently and we
Mhm.
don't need other people. That's false also.
Yeah,
Plus
it
it's
is.
funner with other people.
It is more fun with other people.
Yeah, and we all think differently. We all bring our strengths and our superpowers into whatever is happening. And we don't have it all. We don't know it all. So I want to encourage anybody watching this that don't be afraid to reach out to other people. That's why we're
Mhm.
here. We're all here. We're all connected with each other. And I love that you mentioned daily practice. It's not like a one and done and you're good. It's like
Mhm.
always kind of reminding yourself and coming back to your center and knowing what your mission is and what your purpose is and coming back to your own intuition and saying yes every day basically because you've said yes to a lot of things whether you knew how it was going to turn out or not. And again, I
Mhm.
applaud you for that. That takes courage, but saying yes on a daily basis so you can continue that momentum forward.
Yeah. And I will say, sometimes saying yes to some things led me down a path that it didn't go somewhere. But it always
Mm-hmm.
taught me a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
It always connected me with something that maybe I needed to
Yeah.
learn or grow on for me to go to
Mm-hmm.
the next step.
Yes, I've noticed
So,
that too.
yeah, sometimes saying yes and it not working out, is actually a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times in the moment, we don't feel that way. We might
Right.
be like frustrated, overwhelmed, or irritated, but when you actually look at it in the future, looking back at it, it prepared you oftentimes for
Oh,
something else.
yes. That is so
Like
true.
a diamond, it needs lots of pressure for it to create a
Mm-hmm.
diamond. So sometimes you have to go through a lot of that pressure to shine brightly in what you're called to do.
Well, it certainly sounds like you are shining brightly, my friend, and doing a lot of good for a lot of people. So thank you so much for what you're doing out there in the world. How can people get a hold of you if they want to connect in and have more conversations with you?
Yeah, so I am on socials. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram, Whitney Fallon 0. I'm like Whitney Houston, Jimmy Fallon. I can sing, I'm funny. So now, you can remember my name that way. You can also go to my website. It's actually just launched a couple of weeks ago, so it's brand new. It's
Yay.
wellnessrenovation.com. And there's a really cool aligned wellness blueprint on there. It's an interactive experience where you kind of get to go through my framework and kind of gives you some insight of maybe some things that potentially may be coming up for you to work on, how you can renovate your wellness in a loving way. So that's the cool
Mm,
thing. Or you can book a breakthrough session with me. If you're ready to really experience a breakthrough, you want to tap into your goals, free 22-minute conversation to just help kind of figure out where it is that you're wanting to go and give you some quick breakthrough to get there.
sounds fabulous. And we will put your contact information in the description. So we'll have links there that you can get over to Whitney quickly. But yeah, your wellness renovation, and congratulations on that website being up and ready to go. Sounds like there's going to be some great resources on there for people.
Hmm.
So thank you so much, Whitney, for being here. This has been fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing parts of your journey. I'm sure that wasn't all of it, but we so appreciate that because that shows other women it's okay. We're giving them permission to follow those breadcrumbs, walk in faith, follow in service, and just say yes to whatever opportunities open up for us all. So thank you for being a great example of that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I love the work that you're doing as well, helping people really tap into their superpowers. And I think,
Mm,
that was something that really helped me move forward in my journey was understanding that I am unique. I do
mm-hmm.
have my own superpowers. And when I can embrace that, I can stand tall in what I'm doing. So I love what you're doing and helping people to be able to be built up in that by tapping into those superpowers.
Well, thank you so much. And amen to that, sister. All
Yes.
right, everybody, thank you for being here and listening in. If you know of somebody that would benefit from hearing this conversation, please share it with them. Feel free to subscribe and check Whitney out. And I look forward to the next episode. Again, thank you, Whitney. I appreciate you and I honor what you're doing.
Thank you.
Bye bye, everybody.